Winning Cures Everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in. It is Thursday. I am in the office. This is Winning Cures Everything. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And Chris is back from vacation.
Yes,
You
sir.
made it out alive.
Yep.
We did survive the last few days without you, but it is always better when you're here. So,
thank you, sir.
Today is Thursday, July the 30th, and holy smokes, have we got some big-time stuff going on. Obviously, we're going to be discussing football. We always typically do. But today, lots of football stuff going on regarding the college football season. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about the Pac-12. We're going to talk about the NFL Top 100 list. And tonight, we got NBA coming back. We've had Major League Baseball back for about a week. It's getting kind of ingrained. Have you felt like we're kind of back to normal with Major League Baseball back?
I mean, I've watched a lot of baseball. I've watched a lot of it. And then last night I watched hockey. So
that's it. Now, that was nice to have back on. I was flipping through. I only watched a little bit of that. I had some money on some of these other games and whatnot with baseball. But it's nice to have options again. Matt jumps in on YouTube. He said, "What's up?" Michael said, "What's up, fellas?" Chris, glad to see you back. The Twitter universe, the Winning Cures Everything universe, is glad that you're back. They
appreciate that.
They kept me on my toes all week long, so I'm glad I've got some support behind me now. So let's go ahead and do this first. WinningCuresEverything.com is the website. Make sure you go check it out. WinningCuresEverything.com has got all our picks, previews, podcasts, videos, social media platforms. You can find all that stuff over there. Make sure you are subscribed at all the different live locations, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. And make sure you're subscribed on the podcast. If you missed the show live, obviously you can dive in there, leave a nice 5-star written review over at Apple Podcasts, or you can subscribe and download at any of your favorite podcast apps. We are on all of them. We do not discriminate. There is no exclusivity with this program. So if you can find us, subscribe wherever you can, share the show out, tell your buddies about it. Let's go ahead and dive into topic number one, which to us is the biggest topic of the day, and that is the ACC. Finally revealed their scheduling model. They don't have dates yet, but they have somehow talked Notre Dame into being an ACC member. Now, we discussed this last week before you left. That was an option. There was the pod option of teams playing home and homes against 4 other programs, and that being the only games that the ACC plays. There was the 10+1, which is what they ended up going with. There was the 8+1. You know, this conference typically does 8 conference games a year. That all is going on. And then, of course, the Big Ten and Pac-12 obviously announced that they were going conference only a few weeks ago. The Big Ten schedule is set to be revealed likely tomorrow or Monday, and they will be going division-heavy early. So we're going to get Ohio State, Penn State early. We're going to get Ohio State, Michigan early. We're going to get Michigan, Michigan State early. All these big-time games that you typically don't see until the end of October, early November, or sometimes the end of November, you're going to get these really, really early. Let's go ahead and start off with the ACC. You've had a chance to sit down and kind of look at the schedule, see, you know, who's playing who and whatnot. We don't get a Miami Notre Dame game. Not a fan of that. But it looks like, I mean, it looks fun. I'm kind of okay with this. How do you feel about this?
I mean, yeah, all I cared about is Notre Dame playing Florida State, Miami, and Clemson. And that's the only thing I looked at. They are playing Clemson. We're getting that. That's a good game. And I think we're going to see that twice.
Yeah.
Do they have divisions? Have they divided this thing up? How are we going to get an ACC
division.
champion?
No division. It is the
I didn't
two
think
best
so.
teams.
Now we're going 11. Odd number of teams.
Interesting thing about this, by the way, they're doing it by winning percentage. So they expect to have some games missed. They are looking at this in that way. So that was part of the fine print at the end of this. But
there has to be a minimum game played, right?
I didn't see anything about that.
like one team can't get the Rona, and then 3 of their opponents get the Rona, and so they play 4 games, but they go undefeated, and then so they're in. That we're not going to have that, right?
Surely not. I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so. It didn't say anything about that on there. I'm looking at the website right now. I mean, it's
well, I don't really care how it works out. You can figure the math all you want. Unless something drastic happens, or I'm just really wrong with what I think about these teams, we're getting Notre Dame and Clemson twice.
This says all television revenue for the 2020 season, including Notre Dame's home games, broadcast by NBC, will be shared equally by all 15 institutions.
Yeah, so Notre Dame is going to split their revenue, but so they're going to lose some money here.
We think. I mean,
well,
Notre
if they're
Dame,
splitting it even, they're going to lose money.
Yeah, but they're also going to get a taste of that ACC network. So
yeah, but they're only going to get a piece of it. They're going to get 13th of it.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah, no, you're right. They'll get,
and they're going to get 1/13 of their contract.
Well, 1/15. Yeah, because it's 15.
15th. Shit, yeah, that's right. So yeah, so they're going to get 2/30th.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting.
That's not right.
So, so the 11 games will be played over at least 13 weeks, with each team having 2 open dates. I'm a little confused. It says that the season's first games will take place the week of September 7th through the 12th. I am not sure why you would not go ahead and start on September 5th, Labor Day weekend. Now, it says the 7th through the 12th, so does that mean that they're going to play weekday games? I mean, you wouldn't think so, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I don't know.
But now I'm confused.
But hang on now. ESPN notoriously has a Thursday night game and a Tuesday night game or whatever, like the Friday night games. And those are normally lower tier schools. If those lower tiers schools are not playing this year, then just for inventory's sake, they might be reaching out to the big, the Power 5 schools and saying, hey, who wants a Tuesday night football game? Who wants a Thursday night football game?
That's interesting.
Because that's inventory for them. You got to think about who's paying the bill for this whole thing, and it is ESPN.
Now you're 100% right. So and Fox. I mean,
Fox
ACC.
Fox doesn't have a Tuesday night game. Fox doesn't have Fox's inventory is like 4 games a week.
That is true. That is true.
ESPN's inventory is like 35 games a week.
Very, very true. Very, very true. FS1 will do like a Friday night here and there, but they don't have ACC stuff. So yeah, we don't have to worry about that at all. So the schedule, of course, coming out.
I don't understand why not starting on Labor Day weekend doesn't make any sense to me. Pushing back any further is just not. Things aren't going to get better in a week or two.
Yeah,
okay?
Why would
you've
you
either
not
made this bed, you've done all your analysis, and you've said we're going to do it. We're going to do it this way, and this is how we're going to roll this thing out. Starting it later isn't going to help make it easier or better or anything. Just get it going.
You've got that right. North Carolina does get Notre Dame at home. I noticed they did not have North Carolina and Clemson play each other, and it kind of seems like maybe they are setting it up so that they get a North Carolina-Clemson ACC championship game.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either, but we'll see. Will Gomez jumps in. He said, look who's back. Talking about Chris. Damian jumps in. He said, what's up? And then Matt said, if the athletes are not in class and it's online, they won't worry about missing school or work. Tia3 jumps in and says, hello, mates. That's what I'm talking about. We got Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, and Facebook all jumping in right now. So if you want to be a part of the program, go ahead, jump in that chat box. It all populates right there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Right now, we're discussing the ACC network for those that are watching the show live, or not the ACC network, but the ACC football schedule. They are saying December 12th or December 19th for the top 2 teams based on conference game winning percentage, and it's all one division. Do you think there's a chance that if they do this season and they like it, let's go with this. One, do you think they ever go back to bye games?
Elaborate.
Like, if they like this 10-game season.
The pay for wins?
Yeah. Do you think they just get away from the pay for wins?
No, because I think other ADs are going to scream, and this lower tier schools are going to need that money. And until the NCAA can come up with a way to to basically charge. Listen, I think this is great. I think this is the best way to do it. I like 12 games. I don't know why we can't play more than 10, even if they're against good teams. And I'm 100% for just everybody who's a Power 5 team throws $2 million in a hat, and that $2 million gets ciphered to all the smaller schools that need help funding their schools.
I like that idea. I really like that idea.
Because you know how much I hate that.
Yeah. The other question that I had was, do you think that they will eventually go with getting rid of divisions? You know, at division titles, I think for some schools that's kind of a big deal, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter. The Big 12 has already done this, right? They've got no divisions. The
but
AAC
they only don't have divisions because they have 10 teams.
Agreed, but that could be 5. I mean, it could be 5.
No, but
per
that
side.
wouldn't make any sense to have 2 5-team divisions when you have to play 9 conference games. So you're going to play everybody in the conference but one team. That would be weird.
I agree.
That doesn't make any logical sense. If they added 2 new teams, they would 100% go to 2 divisions.
Well, what I'm saying is if they go this route and say the ACC decides to bump up to 9 conference games, and you can rotate through that schedule a lot more quickly, kind of the way that we assume that the SEC should be doing. I think about how many different years the best 2 teams in the SEC have been from the same division. I mean, it happens pretty regularly.
Yeah, but those 2 teams have to play one another. So to make them play again, it doesn't make sense. Because football is not a thing where if you beat the guy the second time, it shouldn't matter more. Unless it's in a championship game, it shouldn't matter more.
Well, and that's what would be happening here.
It'd be in a conference championship game. That's a bullshit championship. That's made only to make money.
That's okay. You've got a valid point. Michael Fritz jumps on Twitch. He said, I'm just excited. It seems to me like we're trending towards getting some college football. Yeah, I believe that as well. Will Gomez said if the tutors are taking tests before online classes, won't make difference anyway. Terry Brewer jumps in. He said, what's up? And let's see. Tia3 on Twitch said, some help. My school has American football equipment, but doesn't let us use it. But when it's about soccer, they give everything they have. I want some contact sport. Romania doesn't let it do it. Hey, so we got somebody from Romania in here. Any thoughts on this?
So they have the equipment but won't let anybody use it? It's
apparently
locked under lock and key.
That's what he says.
I mean, off air, I would probably be willing to introduce you to somebody who might be able to break into something, but not on air. I would never coerce somebody to break the law on air. That would, or ever at all.
Tia3 or TLA3, whichever it is, I can't quite see it. Go ahead and hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE. Chris is at Chris B. Giannini. Hit us up. We'll discuss that.
I'm sure Roscoe can break a window.
You got that right. Matt said, "Oh, Terry's here. Oh, this should get interesting. We'll see what happens with the rest of this this broadcast here. Let's go ahead and you know what? The Big Ten stuff, the division games being moved early. You a fan of that?
I mean, it's necessary. I just want to make sure we get those games in.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
And this is why I appreciate the ACC at least coming out and saying this. The SEC we think is going to go to conference only. The ACC is leaving that +1 game. Them and the Big Ten go play each other.
I didn't actually bring that up. The ACC,
the Big 12, because they're the only two schools left.
Yeah,
just left.
So Big 12, ACC, and SEC. Let's jump back into the ACC right quick. I didn't mean to spend forever on this, but I completely forgot about it. They have set this up with the one non-conference game and setting up the stipulation that it has to be a team in your conference. And they have to adhere by the same rules that the ACC would. Otherwise, you can't play them. Well, this basically leaves all the onus on the SEC. Like, hey, if you want these games, cool, we'll play them. But if you decide to cancel them, everybody's going to know that it was on you. Like, do you like the way they came out early?
I don't. You think? Oh, so you think you're getting into a you backed out, so you're a coward move with the SEC? Really? Really? That's what you're doing? That's your move? Come on.
I know.
Come on, we kicked the shit out of that conference year in and year out. Outside of Clemson, Clemson can beat 80% of our conference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think they could beat 100% of our conference, but
okay, they have
regularly
beaten 100% of our conference over time, but they don't every time.
No, agreed.
Like, they're legit ball games, okay? Like, the rest of them that you could chalk up W's to unless they just sleepwalk through it or something crazy happens in South Carolina. But no, okay, all right. Take that one school out. Almost every other school we have would beat the shit out of the rest of your conference.
Agreed.
So I'd be real careful with hey, it's not real careful. You say whatever you want. I mean, this is just some drunk frat guy just picking the biggest MMA martial arts dude in the bar and trying to talk shit. But that guy says, I know I can't touch him because I'll kill him and then I'll go to jail and it's just not worth it. So
yeah, this is political back and forth is all this is. This is
but if I'm the SEC, you don't care. You do not care. Listen, one of the best lines that nobody talks about from Game of Thrones is the lion does not concern himself with sheep. It just doesn't.
You got that right. Damien jumps in on YouTube. He said, I still don't see why these student athletes have to risk their lives just to have a season, especially when they're not getting paid at all. Makes no sense. Terry said, because we need football and Chris and Gary need something to break down, Damien. And then Michael said, risk their life, I think that's a little extreme. They can opt out if they want. They're managing risk like adults. The whole risking their life thing, and
that's extreme.
You're going to try and get me worked up here, I swear to God. The survival rate on this virus across the country is 99.7%. That is for all ages. It's even higher for kids their age, healthy 18 to 22-year-olds. You're talking about a 0.1% hospitalization rate. If you see the one article that gets tweeted out virally or shared out on Facebook or whatever, you see that one article, of course it's going to scare you to death. Oh, 18-year-old with no pre-existing conditions gets COVID and dies. It's a minuscule thing, and that's never telling you the whole story. You got to look at the data, you got to look at the numbers and pay attention to what's going on. Like, I
the part about them not getting paid, they're getting paid. That's why they want to come back and do this. Yeah. It's just not above table. It's not above fray. You don't know how much they're making.
Yes, exactly.
That also is true for, I would say, the bulk of them.
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody's not getting paid. I'm sure there's some long snapper out there that's still got to do his algebra homework.
But there's a lot of guys that are doing this because they need that structure in their lives. They need all of these things to get back to normal. A lot of them are doing it to try and work their way into the NFL or to try and work their way up the depth chart and whatever. Because when life does eventually go back to normal, you want to set yourself up to be in the right position. Take advantage of opportunities where you get them. Matt said these guys are in good shape. They have a low risk of it. Michael said, I love you, Damien, but stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Terry said, let's get Gary worked up. They're risking their lives, Gary. And then Matt said, never mind. I swear, Matt, I knew it was going to get nuts, but either way. All right, so the Big Ten stuff with the divisions early, we're off of that one. Let's go ahead and Damien said, I'm not talking about risking their lives with the virus. I'm talking about risking their lives with all the riots happening. I mean, I don't think we have to worry about that with the with being on the field and whatnot because there's not going to be any fans in the stands or anything. Anyway, Matt Miller said, Chris is back. The headline is always BS. There was a healthy 17-year-old that had diabetes and 200 pounds overweight. That isn't healthy. Michael said, I know it'll never happen, but if they never tested any of these players, I wonder if we would know who has it or not. I doubt it. And no, the majority of them are asymptomatic. Like, we would never have any idea.
All of the college kids have been. Not one of them was sick.
Yeah.
Not one.
No hospitalizations.
Of all of the sports, all sports combined, football, basketball, baseball, everybody who's been tested in sports, you're talking about tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands of times.
Yeah.
One person had sick-like symptoms, flu-like symptoms that they felt like death. They felt like ass. And that was Freddie Freeman. And he came back and hitting homers last night.
Yep. So either way.
I mean, that's a lot of folks to not just have this thing. And there's a whole, listen, I'm going to give you, we can't just look at death because there's a whole lot of gray area between dead and healthy. All right. I live my life in that area, by the way. Okay. I'm as far from, I'm closer to dead than I am healthy, but neither here nor there. There's a whole lot between there. None of these people are anything but healthy. And that's where you got to say, all right, we have to look at this thing a little different.
Yeah, I'm with you. Terry McKinnon's in. McKinnon's overseas. He got to jump in. Terry said, let's burn this MFer down. Matt said, I heard there were 6 cardboard cutouts at a baseball game that tested positive for COVID. Terry said, yeah, they were all at the Marlins game.
Hang on. That's a story I wasn't here for, but I'll give you 2 cents on that since it got brought up.
Go ahead.
The Marlins ravaged with this thing. I think we're up to 18 now.
19.
Have it?
19 as of today.
19 as of today. Okay.
Yeah.
0 through the rest of the MLB. Goose egg. One team. Now that shows you the dangers of if we got one bad apple and he gets something, he gets a little crazy, and these guys get in close. But if for the most part, everybody on the team says we're going to follow the rules and we're going to do our job because we're adults and we're going to stay away from this stuff and it's too important, then it seems to work really well. They're not in a bubble, and we're talking goose egg outside of the Marlins.
I will say this: the Phillies had 2 guys. There was one that was a manager and one that was a staffer that both tested positive for COVID today, and they went ahead and postponed whatever their next series.
That's the team the Marlins played. And
right.
That's the team. Those are the people that would have been around other Marlins,
right? But none of the players
staff.
have. So, and Damian said 2 White Sox players got COVID over the weekend. But that had nothing to do with the Marlins. So what we're saying is there are guys here and there, and they are dropping off and quarantining, and other guys are stepping up in their role and playing, and it is moving along fine. I mean, the number of tests that Major League Baseball has run.
In Major League Baseball, it was over 6,000.
It was
they test.
Yeah, it was 0.3% were positive. That's it. And none of them had symptoms. So, I think baseball's doing a pretty good job.
I thought baseball's doing a great job.
Michael said, Chris, what's your opinion on the Kelly suspension? I love that guy, but did you see his post on Instagram? His Instagram post was incredible.
So, all right, I'll address the Joe Kelly thing.
Yeah.
So, I feel a little strange about this. Okay, I love Joe Kelly a lot. All right, I really do. He's definitely a guy that you want on your team, on your ball club. He is not afraid to go after people. All right, so he's a great teammate, and I'm for that. I didn't like this because I'm not a fan of this. The baseball traditionalists will hate me. I don't like the policing themselves and let them work it out on the field. That's bullshit. We're adults. You don't do that. You damn sure don't throw at somebody's head. He threw at 2 different players' heads. So I'm okay with the suspension. Anybody who's crying, they cheated and they didn't get a suspension, and he threw at somebody but didn't even hit him, and he got suspended. That's why baseball. You're an idiot, okay? You just need to take your brain and stop thinking that way. They were given immunity, had to be given immunity so baseball could figure out the problem. You don't like that they cheated and got away with it. I know it sucks. I'm going to tell you this. If you are so naive that you believe college football players aren't getting paid and you believe that the Astros were the only team doing this, then I can't help. We can't have an intelligent conversation between 2 reasonable people. All right. For 3 years, the Astros did this. For 3 years. All 3 years, they lost at least 4 or 5 players to free agency or trades to other teams. Not one of those other players went to another team and was like, hey, we got to play them, and they're cheating, and we're not. We should say something. We should do. No, they got there and like, oh, y'all were watching video cameras and banging on trash cans? We don't do this shit here. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And you get in the batter's box, you go. One player. There's one organization I know of that wasn't cheating. That's the A's, because one player went to the A's, was a pitcher, and was like, wait a minute, y'all don't have some system to tip pitches? Oh, hell no, I'm not pitching against these guys when my guys don't have the same advantage they've got. We're in the same division. No, we're not doing that. No, I'm calling somebody at the Major League Baseball, and we're getting this squashed now. There's been new evidence coming out year 2017, 2018, videotapes of the Yankees doing the same stuff. The balls on Aaron Judge to stand in front of a camera and whine and cry victim when he was doing the same thing. If I'm accused of something, okay, or let's say that if Gary was accused of something, all right, that he absolutely did, and I'm doing the same thing, but nobody's accused me yet, I will be the last person to ever speak an ill word to him about it or to anybody about it. I don't care. That's just bad karma. That's bad juju. You don't do that. The balls to say we're doing the same thing that they're doing, just a little differently. Come on, man. You're not a victim of anything but being a baby bitch. That's it. That's it. The hell with the Yankees.
I love Chris coming in here hot today. Been off for 3 days. Enjoyed his week out, coming in with flames throwing.
Look, man, I just know that too many people in baseball are doing the same thing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I know that they're all doing it. And do I like it? No. Do I want it to continue? No. So I'm okay that we stopped it. But do I think that the Astros are tainted? Do I think that they're the evil empire, that we should hate everything about them and they should pay some massive penalty? No, I don't, because I think half the other teams were doing it too, especially you're a big market team with the money to put in the technology. All right. The Oakland A's don't even pay for Coca-Cola. Okay. Yeah. They're damn sure not going to pay for extra technology.
Matt Miller said,
all the other teams, yeah, they're doing it.
Matt Miller said the Joe Kelly post was hilarious. Also, hitting in the head is stupid, but I don't mind hitting the rib cage. Never seen Correa swing that bad up until this year on a breaking ball. Terry said the Cubs don't cheat because if they did, they would have knocked the skin off the ball. Matt Miller said the Yankees thing has been disproven over and over again, but keep trying with that narrative. Look, it
hadn't been literally this week. There was new evidence that just came out of somebody sitting in the stands videotaping catchers.
When they say disproven, they're saying that Major League Baseball came out and said, actually, no, they didn't cheat. That's what they're saying. So
okay, the Major League Baseball said that. And if I was Major League Baseball, I'd say the same thing.
Yes,
it's obviously the same thing that happened with Spygate and all that other bullshit with the Patriots in the league. Matt Miller. The Patriots got caught doing this, and Roger Goodell called two owners and said, "Hey, I got evidence against your team. What should I do here?" And then burn that shit to the ground. End this investigation right now. Just end it now, because we're all doing it. Because if you got to go deeper in the investigation, it's going to get bad. So just end it.
Terry said, but they're risking their lives, Gary. Matt Miller said, I wouldn't expect great logic from a Red Sox fan, though. So them's fighting words, man. Matt trying to come in here.
I don't really know how being a fan of the Red Sox hurts my logic.
There's nothing about it at all. It's a fan thing. He's a Yankees fan. Of course he's going to say that. It's fine. We love you, Matt. It's all good. Michael said, I agree. Everyone finds the competitive edge. I don't mind them throwing at guys. That's been a part of baseball forever, but you can't throw at someone's head. Will said, sign stealing is one thing, but if you use electronics, you've crossed the line.
But everybody's using electronics now. That's the problem, is technology's too good.
Terry said, get on him, Matt. Will, this is Matt Miller, by the way. Will said, tell the NFL to release those Patriot tapes. Nope, no chance, because then you'd have to release everybody's. Steelers.
They burned them. Yeah. Why did they burn them? Why did they destroy them? Because the Steelers and the Ravens and the Rams all had tapes on them.
Michael said, I guess Chris is okay with the Pats cheating. And then he said, this should get him worked up. And he said, this is obviously the Poke Chris episode.
No, that's fine. I understand all these things are such cheap, low-hanging fruit. I get it. Listen, I used to try to be funny a long time ago, and it's just easy to make quick jokes. That's fine.
So, hey, Matt Miller said, I just hate the Red Sox. I'm just effing with you, Chris. So
that's okay.
It's all good. All right. Hey, let's move into another topic now that we're 30 minutes into the show. Let's discuss a little more college football. The Pac-12. Have you seen this story today?
You sent it to me.
Good gracious. So John Canzano at OregonLive.com, he has been on top of all of the bad stuff that is going on inside the Pac-12 offices with Larry Scott and all of that mess, right? Which Michael jumped in and said, we missed you, Chris. And Terry said, I thought we were trying to work up Gary, not Chris. Can't you see they're risking their lives? So John Canzano comes out with this piece today explaining in detail how the Pac-12 paid the Los Angeles Times $100,000 in 2018 to give them positive press coverage, to write nice stories about them. Now, it is one thing to come out and just buy advertising, right? That's simple stuff. You can advertise the Pac-12 games, the Pac-12 network. You can advertise different things going on with your conference in the LA Times. It's one of the biggest newspapers in the country, and yet they paid specifically to have them, fluff them up. It's puff pieces, trying to make them look better because of guys like John Canzano who are digging into the details and figuring out that this is a badly run organization. This conference has been run into the ground by one leadership group. And I'm not going to say it's just Larry Scott. I'm going to say it's all of them that put him in a position of power. $100,000. I wrote an article on the website back when I did that regularly about the Dan Wolken and whoever the John Curry, the athletic director at Tennessee, their back and forth text exchange that was released through the Freedom of Information Act, all that kind of stuff. Media bias is real, and sometimes it's paid for, and sometimes it's just buddy-buddy, right? It's why you cannot trust almost anything at this point. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. Chris, what did you think about it?
So I'd like to actually digging into this. Okay, I don't know who has if there is even a legal legislative branch to handle this. I want to know, was a check written to the LA Times or was a check written to individual journalists? Because if it's individual journalists, I want those names because I have Dan Wolken's name. Okay. I now know that he is a worthless piece of shit that I will never trust ever. Okay. I would like these journalists' names. I want their name so I can know to not follow any. They can be bought. That if you pay them enough money, they will say whatever you want. Okay, that's all I want. With it being $100,000, I assume it went to journalists because $100,000 to the LA Times is really not that much money. I bet that wouldn't buy you a lot of advertising throughout the entire year's worth of their subscription. So, I don't know that. I haven't been in the newspaper subscription business before. I have, no idea. I would bet that $100K goes more if you're going straight to a journalist, though.
Well,
I want to know who the checks were written to.
Here's the deal. And I'll read just a short snippet of this article. It says, most newsrooms fiercely guard against any interference by advertisers with editorial content, any appearance of special treatment in exchange for ad dollars, any whiff of quid pro quo. It's a tenet of journalism that the newsrooms are independent of the advertising departments. That's why word of the Pac-12 deal caused shudders in the LA Times' ranks. The Oregonian, Oregon Live, has obtained internal communications from both the Pac-12 and the LA Times that reveal new details of the partnership. The Pac-12, which long denied there was a formalized agreement, for the first time now acknowledges it signed a contract to provide quote-unquote advertising revenue to the Times.
Wow, so it did go straight to the Times.
He said, we interviewed more than a dozen insiders over the last 18 months, including Times president Chris Argentieri and executive editor Norman Pearlstein, who reached out early in the investigation expressing a desire to tell his side of the story. Said Pearlstein a year ago, don't let the Pac-12 speak for me. Now he is declining comment. He said, emails, memos, and human resources grievance show how the Pac-12 promised special access for the LA Times reporter and how the partnership set off alarm bells inside the news organization. After the agreement was signed, Andrew Walker, a Pac-12 vice president in charge of communications, offered to pave the way for the newly hired reporter, a former Times intern named Blake Richardson. In October 2018, Walker promised Richardson via an email obtained from the conference, I can make sure you have all the access and info to become the best Pac-12 reporter out there, and then he laid out the blueprint. So what it sounds like from all of the reading that I've done on it, it sounds like they basically paid to have their own guy be a part of the LA Times team.
Yep.
Now, but they're also paying the LA Times to have good press cover, like good coverage of their conference.
This is the problem.
That's a major league problem.
Is Larry Scott healthy enough to where we can criticize him now? Because I know that's a thing. Like when he got COVID, we all had to be nice to him. I'm ready for this guy to be fired again.
Yeah, look, just because you get sick does not mean all of a sudden that you cannot be criticized for the job that you're doing. Like
no. That's
everything
right.
that I've heard,
he needs to be gone. Yeah. He needs to be gone. They need to clean house. They need to shut down those offices in San Francisco. They need to move them to Henderson, just outside of Las Vegas, substantially cheaper. It's just that this needs to all happen, and it needs to happen now. He needs to be escorted off property now.
Terry on Facebook said, all that money for nothing. Matt Miller said, this pretty much happens everywhere. The media today will do anything for money, or sometimes they just do it for free. Yeah, like if they're needing access, et cetera, right?
Well, we know they do it for access, and we know they do it for a lot of things. And
they do it because they just like people, Well,
yeah, but it's now that I would treat differently. If you have a relationship with someone, but if that relationship is public, then everybody knows that relationship is there.
Yeah.
So that's different. But we don't know that a check exchanged hands.
But we do know with the LA Times, we 100% know that the
Pac-12, in this situation we do, but I'm just talking about in most situations we don't.
Agreed. I mean, we see it all the time whenever people are writing bad stories about the NFL or when they're not writing bad stories about the NBA and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, it's people that want to maintain their access, that want to maintain their credentials, that don't want to be in the crosshairs, right? So, it's a shame. It's sad. Journalistic integrity is not found all that often these days, and this is just another example of it. Michael said, these idiots in power in California are a joke. Too much money, too much time. Terry said, Obi Matt puffs pieces all the time. Good Lord. Matt Miller said, we're all hoes with our own unique prices. Some are lower than others. And that's 100% true. I'll do just about anything depending upon the price. I will see. Either way. Terry said, never be nice. They should have fired him the day he tested positive. Michael said, this is exactly why you can't drink the Kool-Aid. The media couldn't get any more corrupt. That's 100% true. It's just, it's bad. It's all bad. Let's move into some NFL talk. You good with that, Chris?
Yep.
Let's talk about the NFL Top 100 list. Now, before we came live, Matt Miller said, anything, Gary? with an eggplant emoji. Man, it depends on the price. The NFL Top 100 list. Look, Chris and I discussed a little bit of this earlier, and I brought up the idea of, should we really let the NFL's own media company, group, whatever, their own journalists, come up with a list of the top 100 players? And he explained it to me as they've got their own guys, and yes, they should 100% be allowed to do this. Patrick Mahomes is a little bit fired up about it because he was ranked number 4 on this list. Chris, I'll go ahead and read the top 10 that they've listed here. Number 10 is Derrick Henry. Number 9 is Stephon Gilmore. Number 8 is DeAndre Hopkins, which, by the way, again, Jamal Adams was traded for 2 first-rounders. DeAndre Hopkins, Doug Johnson, and a second-rounder. Just little Texans hate there. George Kittle is number 7. Christian McCaffrey, number 6. Michael Thomas, number 5. Patrick Mahomes, number 4. Aaron Donald, number 3. Russell Wilson, number 2. And Lamar Jackson, number 1. These are the top 100 players of 2020 per NFL.com and the NFL Network. Michael said this is just like the Madden ratings. Who gives a shit? Just shut up and play. I'm kind of the same thing here, but I think it does give a little more juice to the guys that got rated lower than they feel like they should. The Madden ratings, that's just like a bunch of computer nerds, right? This is what the media that covers you every year thinks of you, which I think makes it sting a little harder. Does that make sense, Chris?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Tell me your thoughts on whether or not Patrick Mahomes should be irritated that he is the 3rd quarterback on this list.
No, please don't be soft, Patrick. I like everything about you. Please don't be this thin-skinned.
I was a little surprised, honestly. This sounds like some bullshit Aaron Rodgers would do. Please don't go down that road.
You don't want to be like that guy. I promise you. That dude lives a super unhappy life.
That's it. Now, Matt Miller is saying, no, this is the players who rank each other, which is even worse. Or no, it's the players who rank it. Oh, I wonder, is there like a players ranking thing? I thought this was the media. Did I get this completely wrong? I have no idea. Oh, no. Hold on. This is determined solely by the players themselves. This adds a whole different thing here. So, even worse, Matt jumps in. He said, Mahomes has 500 million reasons not to care. And then Michael said, all these players vote with their own bias. Hell, some didn't even play Mahomes. Yeah, that's it. You guys are right. I completely missed on this. Good gracious. But so Derrick Henry at number 10, Stephon Gilmore at 9. I kind of like those. It was a little surprising to see a running back up that high. Of course, we got Christian McCaffrey at 6. DeAndre Hopkins at 8. I was a little surprised by that. Julio Jones is back at number 11. George Kittle at 7. Michael Thomas 5. I was surprised to see Michael Thomas up that high for some reason. Two defensive players in the top 10.
It just tells you it's an offensive game.
Yeah.
I could care less about these ratings. I've told you that. I think they're dumb. And then, if players want to rate one another, media people want to rank people, that's fine. I'll rank anybody you ask me to rank. Give me a list. I'll tell you what I think about them, and I'll put them in an order. But I just find this to be laughable. As soon as J.J. Watt shows up in the top 100, I'm out. That dude has been in the league for too damn long, and he is not any good anymore. Okay? He's got like 4 good games in a season, and we still keep blowing smoke like this dude is one of the best players in football. He was a long time ago. Okay. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Matt jumps in. OB Matt, he said, it's just something for us to talk about since we can't get real football. Michael said, Von Miller was at 26, so obviously this list is fake news. Will Gomez wonders whether or not this was voted on before the Super Bowl or before the playoffs.
I would have done an off season.
Yeah. Damian said, how the hell is Allen Robinson at number 93? He's the only player that got the Bears wins last year. And then Terry, of course, jumping in, trying to poke your buttons a little bit, said, Aaron Rodgers is risking his life. Show some respect, Chris.
No, not a lot of respect for Rodgers.
I had a lot of fun with the Rodgers stuff. Matt Miller jumps in. Todd Gurley's on the list. LOL. By the way, playing a sport doesn't make you an expert. There's no pro football school. They are just naturally gifted. Yeah. Oh, here we go. It's voted for at the Pro Bowl. So it was right before the Super Bowl. Okay.
I don't know that would have changed anything.
I don't think so either.
Because the 3 people ahead of him weren't around at that time. But it's a popularity contest. I'll tell you that. I mean, there's a reason Russell Wilson got up there that high.
Oh, yeah.
It's because he's probably the most likable person in the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. All right.
Not that anybody else is not, but, if you are ranking football players, just quarterback, because I have no idea. I have no clue how you rank an offensive lineman and a defensive tackle and a quarterback. Okay. I have no idea. I don't know what that means or how to say one is a better football player than the other. Okay.
Well, and here's the thing. Some of them work better in different schemes. I mean, you try and put Lamar Jackson in the Chiefs scheme, I seriously doubt he would be as effective as he is with the Ravens. I mean, the Ravens built an offense.
We'll disagree there completely.
Well, I'm saying with the rosters, the way that they are currently constructed, I think that.
So wait a minute, he can't throw the ball to Tyreek Hill. He can't throw the ball to all those receivers. He can't run Andy Reid's most quarterback friendly system that any dumb that can throw the football can run. He can't do that.
I think that, look, I'm not saying he would be bad. I just think Mahomes is way better in that system than Lamar Jackson.
Mahomes is a better quarterback than him.
I also think that Mahomes would not be as good in the Ravens system as Lamar Jackson is. I think those two offenses are tailor-made.
You're giving way too much credit to systems. Way too much credit to systems.
Maybe so. I'm looking at the way that the rosters are currently constructed. Matt Miller said, I would just rank them based on value. The best ever isn't as valuable as any of the top 15 quarterbacks ever. Best safety is not as valuable as whatever.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Yeah. Like that's the problem. But so let's just take the 3 quarterbacks. Okay.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than both of those other guys. He just is. He didn't have a better season last year. He won the Super Bowl, but he didn't have a better season. He got hurt. He missed some games. He had a couple of games where he played like crap. That happens. He's allowed to be human. That's okay. But, I don't know. I got no way to explain this stuff.
No, I can understand that. Michael said if football players knew how good other players really are, then Elway wouldn't have drafted Lynch or Osweiler.
Yeah. No, I fully believe that just because you're a former player doesn't mean you're going to be a good evaluator, because we've seen that.
Damian said Aaron Rodgers can take that tequila and shove it where the sun don't shine. Matt said systems work. And Terry said, don't forget to like, share with your friends, and for the love of God, don't be risking your lives. Michael said, didn't Keenan Allen get butt hurt as well? Called out Evans and a few other receivers. Yeah.
That was a Madden thing, though.
Yeah, I thought that was a Madden.
That was Madden. That wasn't this.
Yeah. No, you got that right.
He called out Chris Goodwin, not Chris Godwin.
Yeah, he tagged the wrong
Chris
dude.
Goodwin got famous.
Matt Miller said, Russell Wilson is second. He is better than Lamar. We'll see one-year wonders all the time. I need another year. Yeti said, Yeti just jumped in. He said, your thoughts on SEC only schedule? I love it. I'm in.
That's all I want. That's all I want. These big conferences to play their own schedule so you can control it, so we don't have too much chaos.
Yeah. No, you
when chaos hits, you can adapt and move if you're doing a conference only thing.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Damian said, to be fair, maybe they had Mahomes at 4 because he got injured. Totally possible. And by the way, congrats to everybody that jumped in today. We reached 100 chat messages today. Props to you guys for doing that. You're keeping the show going. You're driving content. We appreciate it, of course. And then last but not least, Matt Miller said 3 SEC teams in the playoff, and Michael said SEC schedule sucks because I can't see Colorado A&M. That's my only complaint. Yeah, you'll get it eventually. All of these games will eventually be made up. We got nothing to worry about. If LSU Texas doesn't happen this year, it will happen again very, very soon. It may not be next year, but I'm telling you.
As long as there's 80,000 people in the house, I'm fine.
Yep, you got that right.
You play us with 10, I'm going to be pissed.
We are at 47 minutes. Matt said, did we mention it, or did we reach 100 without any mention of murder hornets? Yeah, that's correct. Terry said, we all risked our lives, so let's celebrate. 100%. Let's talk about this to close us out today. The NBA is officially back. We are now into actual regular season, real life seeding games in the NBA. We got 2 of them going on this evening. You got Utah and the Jazz against the Pelicans, and we don't know whether or not Zion Williamson is going to play because he is a game time decision. So we'll just have to wait and see whether or not Zion gets on the floor tonight. Remember, he was gone for like 8 or 10 days, whatever it was. He was gone for a while from the bubble. He came back, he quarantined, whatever, but he's got to get back in shape, whatever that means. So we've got that game first.
He was gone for 10 days, and so now he's got to get back in shape. He needs a mini camp for a 10-day hiatus. Come on.
So that is going on.
You can't make this shit up.
That's at 5:30 Central Time, which is in an hour and 45 minutes here. Sports
been closed down for 5 months. Now we know who wasn't staying in shape.
There you go. Michael said,
"Badass."
Let's see. Hold on. Matt Miller said, I plan on going to the LSU Texas game this year and the Field of Dreams game. So this sports year has sucked personally. Yeah, same here. We were doing a big Winning Cures Everything Westlake Pirates get together in New Orleans for, what was it, LSU and Mississippi State?
Yeah, the state game.
Yeah, so we were planning on that. Michael said, WCE post-Rona barbecue. Yeah, we can 100% host one of those. Terry said, when's the next live show? That way we can risk it all and bring out the Murder Hornets. Who knows? Because right now we can't go anywhere to do all this stuff. So either way. But with this NBA stuff, let's talk about the 2 games tonight. Jazz and the Pelicans. Pelicans are a 2-point favorite, and the Clippers and the Lakers. Lakers are a 5-point favorite because who knows who is going to suit up for the Clippers tonight. I know Montrezl Harrell is out. I know Lou Williams is still out. Who knows who else is going to be out for them, right?
But we know, the Lakers, do they have everybody suiting up too?
Yeah. No, the Lakers are fine. Here's the deal, though. They got Rondo that opted out. They got Avery Bradley that opted out, but like J.R. Smith is going to be in there. They've got
LeBron and AD are both playing, right?
Yes, both of them are playing.
Okay.
And Kawhi is playing on the other side. So along with Patrick Beverly and whoever, those are the main ones. And Paul George, he's going to be playing. So the big names will be there, but I mean, we'll see, right? If you wanted bets for the night, I would take the Jazz and I would take the Clippers. I just roll with both underdogs because who knows what to expect.
That's it. Take the dog. Baseball, betting dogs for the first part of the season has the last
incredibly profitable.
Weekend, first couple of days. Whoo!
Yeah, making a bunch of money right now.
Juicy, man. It's been juicy. God,
yes,
I love dogs.
Matt Miller said, I wonder what Gary would do for some Magic City strip club wings. Hey, have you seen the pictures of those wings? Those things are fire, man.
You know what? All right, hot take. Not much of a wing guy.
Really?
Yeah. If I went the rest of my life and never had another one, I don't know that I would miss anything. I don't hate them by any stretch. And if they're in front of me, I will eat them. But, like, I could kind of care less.
If I had,
like, if I'm going to eat chicken, give me a leg. Like, I would dick around with these little bitty ass pieces of meat. Give me some food, man.
If I had,
give me a thigh.
Choice,
give me something I could bite in.
If I had the choice of one food that I could only eat that food for the rest of my life, chicken wings would be top 3, and it might be number 1.
Oh, God, it wouldn't even be top 100 for me.
I love chicken wings. Love them. So. Let's see. Let's go ahead and roll through the comments, and then we'll get out of here because we have gone long enough. Michael said, I'm with you, Matt. Had flights and hotel booked for the game in College Station and no Broncos game. FU 2020. Terry said, don't ask. It could be something that would never let you sleep again. Oh, the humanity. Matt said, I like a big breast and a juicy thigh. Matt Miller said, great chicken wings are better than ribs. Hot take. I'm not going to agree with that, I don't think.
No. No.
Maybe. They're very comparable.
No, they're not. They're not comparable at all.
Michael said, that's about as un-American as it comes, Chris. Sign me up for grilled cheese for the rest of my life. And then Matt said, we used to wreck some wings. Yeah, Matt and I, the year that Olive Branch High School won the state championship in football, we tore up a 50-piece in about an hour. I mean, we tore through them things. So, along with 2 big-ass buckets of fries, man, we were tubbier.
I'm not saying I won't eat a bunch of wings. I'm just telling you, if I had the option, why on earth would I not grab a leg or a thigh? Let me get something I get a bunch of meat on.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, you got a valid
I'm all
point
about
here.
efficiency, man. I don't want to be dicking around with these wings.
Speaking of efficiency, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's go.
You guys have been fantastic. Of course, share the show out. Like the video. Tell your buddies about it. All that good stuff. Make sure you are subscribed at all of our different platforms and on the podcast. Leave a nice 5-star review. We would definitely appreciate that. Matt, of course, gets the last comment today. He said, meaty thighs. You got to love that. Good gracious. So, with that said, winningcureseverything.com is the website. All of our picks, previews, podcast videos, and social media platforms are over there. And then, of course, if you have not paid attention, this Saturday is August 1st. All of our college football content will be over at sportsbookreview.com or sbrpicks.com on their YouTube channel. That is where we will be located. You can go find us over there. We'll still be doing all of our NFL, NBA, golf, UFC, all of this talk about, Popeyes and chicken wings and ribs and all of this will still be right here. But our college football stuff will be over there. So make sure you subscribe.
Hey, if you got some thoughts on those videos, I'm not going to check the comments on YouTube this year. Last year, that wasn't good for the self-esteem. So if you got some, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook. I'm still on both those. I'm just not going to read through all the YouTube stuff. Totally makes sense. So you can hit Chris at Chris B. Giannini. There's some not nice-ass Texas people out there.
Hey, you got that right. At Gary WCE. And you didn't even read the Clemson comments from your takes from before the national championship game. But, hey, your team did the talking.
How'd that work out?
I'm just saying. There were some not nice people in the comments on that
doesn't
on that whole
surprise me.
No, of course not. All right, you guys have been great. Thank you so much. Share the show out. We'll go ahead and get out of here. Yeah. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We're going to see you again tomorrow. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and